Hi there, it's Kevin Ward, the founder of Yes Masters Real Estate Success Training, helping you get more yeses and more successes in your business and in your life. And today I'm going to talk about a couple things I rarely talk about. Number one, I'm not going to talk about winning. I'm going to talk about surviving. That's right. Now, I normally don't talk about surviving because I am into thriving and into winning, not into survival. And yet the reality is that before you can thrive, you must take care of survival. That's just basic. And when we have been hit in our lives by a storm of the magnitude that we have been hit this year in 2020 with all of the stuff that has happened, that has created massive chaos, massive crisis, and it is far from over, how do you first survive so that you can thrive? So think of it as, I love sailing, so I just think about being out on a sailboat and I think about getting hit by a massive storm. Now, that's never happened to me, but I've seen the videos, I've seen the movies just like you have, and so you know that all of a sudden your life is in danger if you're on a storm. Well, in this, your livelihood, your just peace of mind, your well-being, everything is threatened. Our finances, it's all threatened. So the very first thing that we have to do as this storm hit, as the pandemic hit, all the other repercussions of that, the economy shut down and everything hit, the very first thing you have to do when you get hit by a storm with no warning, right? We didn't have a warning it was coming. It's just like all of a sudden, boom, it is here. The first thing you have to do is you have to stabilize the ship. You got to stabilize the ship, which means you got to keep from sinking. You got to keep from getting thrown overboard. You got to keep from you got too much sails up. You got to refin the sails. You got stuff laying around on deck. You got to get everything secured. You got to get life jackets on everybody. All of a sudden, everybody goes into crisis mode to stabilize the ship and get secure so that you can weather out the storm. So that's the first step. And this first step is is a matter of survival. We have to keep our ship afloat and stay on board. Then the second thing, once we get that done, then we can start focusing on staying on course, which means I got to now refocus on my dream, refocus on my goals, stay on course toward the destination. And this now is where we continue to think about thriving. Is I want to be winning. And in the storm, there is tremendous opportunity to make headway in your business and in your life as long as you got the ship stable. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to stabilize the ship, how to get the ship of your life and your business stable so that you can continue to stay on course and move your business forward and continue to make money. Because one of the things I have noticed with all of my coaching members and the thousands of agents that I train and tens of thousands that watch me on YouTube and follow me, that some agents have said, you know what, I'm going to keep going, I'm going to keep surviving, I'm going to keep winning, I'm going to keep making money. And a lot of my coaching members are having their best year ever, while many agents are absolutely starving. And even a few of my top agents went into a tailspin because they allowed the crisis, the storm, to knock them off course, and it either they haven't got back on course or it took them off course for a long time, and then they got a lot of recovery to do. So how do you stabilize the ship and stay on course? And so to do this, I'm going to talk about what I train and call the 7 domains of your life. And that just means the different compartments, the different elements of your life that all matter, they're all interrelated, and they all have to work together. And if you're not taking care of all 7 of these domains, you are going to run into problems in the middle of the storm. Now, real quickly, I'm just going to lay out what those domains are. So there are 7 domains of your life. Number 1 is your feelings. You got to take care of your emotions. Okay? Probably the most powerful thing is that we call this your mindset. How you feel and your emotions. If you can't control your emotions in this, and you get depressed, you panic, you get into fear, things go bad in a hurry. Number 2 is friends and family. Your friends and family. When I call these number 1, number 2, I'm not saying that one is more important than the other. All 7 of these matter. Okay. The next one is your finances. It is your money. Right? You got to take care of your finances. Your faith is the anchor. Your faith is, it's kind of like it is the hull of your ship. It's what holds you there. You got to keep faith. Next is your focus, and that is, what are you focused on? The focus of your life, your destination, your dreams, your goals. That is your focus. Your fun, which we're going to talk about, and finally is your fitness, your health, your body, taking care of yourself. So here is the thing. If you want to survive in crisis, it is not about the storm. It is not about the market. It is not about the economy. It is not about any of that, because you can't control it. What you can control is how you handle the storm in the 7 domains of your life. And so I'm just going to lay this out really, really simply and really, really powerfully. The first thing you have to do is you got to manage your feelings. So what do? Number 1 is you have to find peace in the middle of the storm. You got to find peace. You got to find confidence. You got to keep your head right and go like, I got this. You do that with declarations. You do that with visualizations. You do that by reading, putting good stuff in your brain. You do that with good coaches, mentors, and good relationships with other people who are surviving and thriving in the storm, not by talking to people who are fear-mongering and they're freaking out and they're telling you it's all going to hell. Now, I'm not saying be unrealistic or deny reality. But I'm saying in the middle of that reality, there is always opportunity. So you got to stay focused on that, and you got to keep your head about you. If you can keep your head about you when all about you are losing theirs, not only are you going to survive, you have the opportunity to thrive. But this is something, if you don't think about it, we take the stress and we stuff it and we stuff it and we stuff it and we stuff it. And all of a sudden one day we don't feel like working anymore. And we get into depression. We get into fear and we let it take over, and it becomes like deer in the headlights. Instead of going, okay, there's a threat. Here's the problem. What do? Boom. I got to get on track with solutions and making stuff happen. But to do that, first, I got to keep my head in the game. Okay. So 1, how are you doing emotionally? And you got to pay attention to that. Talk to somebody that can help you. You got to deal with your emotions. And a lot of the emotions, if you're not careful, get taken out on your relationship. So the next area of your life is you have to feed your relationships. Right now, we're stuck at home. Our kids are at home with us. We're stuck with our spouses. And for some of you, you need space from your spouse at times. You got to understand, in the middle of times like this, 1, I got to be patient with everybody else, because guess what? They're all going through the same feelings you're going through. Everybody's under stress. And they talk about this overload, this sensory overload of all the things going on around us takes a toll on you. It's an emotional burden. So you got to be very intentional and deliberate about taking care of your relationships. You got to reassure each other, reassure your kids, reassure your family, the people that are close in your life. Reassure them that you care about them, that you care for them, that you're here for them. Talk to them, communicate, write notes to them, text them during the day. You got to forgive. You got to have a lot more grace whenever you're stuck in a house or whatever. All the stuff that's going on, finances are tight, whatever it is that's going on, the relationship has to be protected. And if you get into these blow up fights in your household, it adds to the emotional stress. It makes it harder to work, your finance, and you get fight over finances. All these things are interrelated. So you got to take care of this. How are you doing with your family and friends? Watch that. Feed your relationships rather than take advantage of your relationships or ignore or neglect your relationships. You got to feed to make the relationship stronger. Do some things as a family together that are productive. I'm going to just skip right over here right now to fun. I think one of the biggest things that's happened to me, is when the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, what do we do? Well, we had a major event coming up. We had to cancel that event. We had to adjust. It cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're like, what do we do? All of a sudden, we're working night and day. My wife runs the company, and so we're just like working like crazy. And I realized after about 6 weeks of going through all this in March and April, I just looked at one day at Julie and I said, I haven't even been to my boat. And I literally went sailing 1 time in 6 weeks. And it was like, and again, sailing that's one of my hobbies, right? I have a sailboat. I love sailing. And so I'm like, that's my hobby. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't having fun. Now, what's important is because when you have fun, you recharge the emotional batteries. And no matter what's going on in your life, you have to take time to have some fun. We're getting ready to take a little multi-day road trip. Okay, not getting on an airplane or anything. We're just like, we got to figure this out. We got to get out of the house. We got to get away. We need some time to go have some fun. So we're going to go up in the mountains. We're going to go have some fun. Figure out some ways, and you can do it without spending a lot of money. We're not spending the kind of money we'd normally spend on a trip. I mean, you can figure all this stuff out, but you have to make sure that you're having fun. And the cool thing is, when you have fun and you have it with fun with your family, guess what? You're also growing the relationships. Guess what? It also makes your emotions better. Another thing you got to do is you got to take care of fitness. You're stuck at home, you can't go to the gym, and all. You got to figure out something. I've been trying to figure out, what do I do to take care of my fitness? Well, I hate doing boring workouts. So I'm like, I got to find something fun. So, I'm taking up bike riding. I started surfing. After all these years, I've lived at the beach for 10 years. I've never surfed. I'm like, I'm going to learn how to surf. Why? Because one, it'll be good for my fitness. Two, I need something to have extra fun. So boom, that's what I did. Hey, I'm not going to go out and spend a bunch of money on a surfboard, so I went and bought a used surfboard. I'm going out with my daughter. We're taking surf lessons together. It's just like we're having fun. In the middle of all this, you've got to take time out to have fun. Now, down here, let's talk about faith. You got to keep the faith. Whatever your beliefs are, your values, you got to stay true to your moral compass. You got to stay true to your faith, your beliefs. Keep believing, keep trusting that things are going to work out, because that serves your emotions, it serves your productivity. And then the last thing here is your focus. And that is, now, once you've got the ship stabilized, and how do you stabilize the ship? With all these different domains of your life. Keep that ship stabilized. Now I can stay focused on my goals. Now, if you're a real estate agent, like most of you watching this, stay focused on your real estate goals this year. I've set a goal to make X amount. If your goal for this year was $250,000 and to do 30 deals or whatever the numbers were, then get refocused on that and say, okay, now I got the ship stable. I'm doing okay. My family's doing okay. I'm going to go out and keep focused on my business. One, because it makes you more money. So it helps your finances. And when your finances are better, it's easier to be happy. It's easier to feel joy. It's easier to feel peace of mind, right? When you're working out, consistently taking care of fitness, guess what? It gives you more energy, and more energy makes you more productive. By the way, it's also proven when you exercise, take good care of your body, and also feed it good stuff, your emotional well-being is higher. It's better. When your friends and family, you're doing good in your relationships, guess what? It's easier to focus. And with all of these things, you can find ways to have fun and do it all in a way that is congruent with your faith, with your values. And what I'm saying with all of this, and I hope this connects with you, and understanding that in the crisis, pay attention to your life. Pay attention to all the areas of your life, because what happens is we get fixated on one thing. We get into a fight with a family member because we're stressed out. You may have somebody living with you. You've had parents move. People have had parents move in with you. We've had our daughter from college. She's back living with us. All that kind of stuff can lead into a crisis if you get into a big fight. And all of a sudden, everything else, you don't want to do anything else because this one fight consumes you. Or you get into a financial issue, and all of a sudden that's totally consumes you. It consumes your emotions. You can't sleep. You're not exercising anymore. You're not having any fun. And now you start challenging your own faith, and you start trying to cut corners, compromising your moral compass. And all of a sudden, my friend, because of one domain, one area where things got out of whack, you put yourself and your life into a tailspin. So pay attention to all the things that are going on in your life. Keep those things on track, because they all affect each other. And just check on yourself. Ask yourself in each one of these 7 domains, how am I doing? What changes do I need to make? What do I need to do right now? What is an action I can take to get me better in this one domain? And figure that out so that you can survive. And then once you've survived and stabilized the ship, you can start focusing on thriving and winning, even in the middle of a crisis. If this video has been helpful for you, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Put your comments, questions down below. What are you thinking about? What are you struggling with? What can I help? Because this is going to also inform and help me make decisions about future training content that I may be putting here on YouTube as we continue to go through this crisis together, so that we can all win together.